I've been looking at portable espresso makers for a while now, and the IMOYBBR 58mm pneumatic model keeps coming up in conversations about travel and outdoor brewing. If you've ever hesitated over whether a hand-powered machine will actually deliver something that tastes like espresso on a campsite or in a hotel room, you're not alone. The risk isn't just the price, it's the time you'll spend setting it up, cleaning it, and wondering if the extraction even worked. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. What stands out here is that it's air-driven, not spring-loaded or lever-based like most manual options. That means you're not fighting against a spring's tension every time you pull a shot. Instead, you're using controlled air pressure to push water through the puck. For hikers or van lifers who want consistency without the bulk of an electric machine, that's a real advantage. The 58mm portafilter size is standard enough that you can still use your favorite basket and tamper, which is a nice touch if you already own accessories. The telescopic body is clever once you see it in action. When collapsed, it's about the length of a large travel mug, so it fits in a backpack side pocket without digging into your gear. The downside is that the telescoping section is aluminum too, so it's not adding much weight, but it does mean there's one more moving part to keep clean. If you're the type who rinses their gear after every use, that's manageable. If you're more of a rinse when I remember person, you might end up with coffee residue in the threads after a few trips. Cleaning is straightforward because it's a three-part design: the base, the cylinder, and the portafilter. You pop them apart, rinse each piece, and let them dry. No tiny crevices or hidden nooks, which is a relief after wrestling with some other portable machines that feel like they were designed by someone who never had to scrub them. The detachable structure also makes it easier to inspect the seal and the pressure valve, which is important because those are the parts that wear out fastest in pneumatic systems. Now, let's talk about the gauges. There's a water temperature gauge built into the base and a pressure gauge on the cylinder. In practice, the temperature gauge is more useful than you'd think. You can preheat the base with hot water from a kettle or camp stove, then monitor how quickly it cools while you grind and tamp. If you're brewing outside in cold weather, that temperature drop happens fast, and the gauge gives you a heads up before you start the extraction. The pressure gauge is trickier. It tells you the air pressure you're applying, but it doesn't account for water temperature or grind size. So while you can see that you're at 9 bars, the actual extraction quality still depends on your technique. If you're new to manual espresso, you might find yourself chasing the perfect pressure without realizing the grind was too fine or the water too cool. Real-world use cases matter here. If you're brewing at home with a scale and a thermometer, this machine is overkill. You'd be better off with a dedicated lever machine or an electric pump model. But if you're brewing on a picnic table, in a tent vestibule, or in a car with limited space, the portability wins. I've seen people use it with pre-ground coffee in a mason jar, which is fine for a quick caffeine hit, but if you care about crema and depth of flavor, freshly grinding right before brewing makes a noticeable difference. The machine itself won't grind your beans, so factor that in if you're already carrying a grinder. Who should buy this? If you travel often, camp regularly, or work in an office where counter space is limited but you still want espresso-level coffee, this is worth a look. It's also a good option if you're curious about pneumatic extraction but don't want to commit to a full-sized machine. Who should skip it? If you're only brewing at home and already have a reliable espresso setup, the portability benefits disappear. If you're not comfortable with manual techniques or don't want to experiment with grind size and pressure, you might end up frustrated by the learning curve. The biggest hidden trade-off is the air pump itself. It's not electric, so you're using your arm strength to build pressure. That's fine for a single shot, but if you want a double, you'll feel it. The pump also has a small O-ring that can dry out over time, especially if you leave it exposed to heat or cold for long periods. Replacement O-rings are cheap, but it's one more thing to keep track of on the road. Overall, the IMOYBBR 58mm portable pneumatic espresso maker is a solid choice if portability and control are your priorities. It's not the flashiest machine, and it won't replace your home setup, but it delivers on the promise.